BYND's over 1,000% IV. I believe it. Don't touch BYND. That's crazy. That's an option seller right there, but even still, you better be very delicate because you're going to get wrecked. Still chilling. Not an aggressive bounce for such an aggressive move. You need a higher high on the 5 to tell you anything. Right now we do not high. If we have volume, we have a bottom wick. You need a higher high. In my opinion, we need to take out about 140 to get this train going. Other than that, he's still going down. Still going down. Volatility is still high. VIX is 25, or NASDAQ liquidity is 25. VIX is back over 19 for a 7% gain, baby. 7% gain. Let's go take a look at the S&P. The S&P stacked liquidity lower and didn't fill any of them. So it's 67.60, 58, 52, 49, all the way down, and didn't fill a single one of them. Just took them off the book, scrapped the book. I sold some 1031 $2 puts on BYND for 35 cents. Still going down, 67.48. ES is dropping, 25.090. New low of the day for NASDAQ and going. And going. Still going. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? Locked in on 90%. Beautiful. Very aggressive move. Guess what's going to happen today, though? People who are trying to buy the dip going to get wrecked. You need to be very patient. NVIDIA short trade. Nice, Nico. Oil worked out phenomenally well. Hit my first target. This line right here was my first target. 58.45, although you all are looking at book map right now. But 58.45 was my first target on oil. We rejected 58.82, came down and tapped 58.45. Fantastic. Fantastic. NASDAQ's playing very well. VIX is moving higher. The market is transitioning into deeper and deeper red. Amazon's down 2%. NVIDIA's down 0.18. Double bottom wick on NASDAQ with volume. What's up, Forrest? How you doing? What's that? Y'all remember the Budweiser frogs? Can I pick your brain on one? Sure. I learned more about frogs from you did, Quackazoid. Can I pick your brain? Yep. Let's see it. What's up, Bookmap? How you doing? How's everyone doing on Bookmap? Right now, we're just watching the NASDAQ get wrecked on down, following the liquidity lower, following the options lower. Just down and down. Down and down. No significant bounce yet. That is not a good sign. We have two bottom wicks with volume. We do not have a higher high, so you can't go long yet based on the 3 Cs. I know some of y'all are already trying to front run it. You're probably already in long positions, aren't you? You're about to get wrecked. Admit it. Tell me. Be honest with me. Show me. 3C long on oil, nice, beautiful. You're short, nice trippy, Mike. You're the trippiest of Mikes. My figure was on the buy button. That's okay to have it on the buy button, but we don't have a higher high yet. Right side of the V, baby. Right side of the V. 1.5 billion in puts, 266 million in calls sold. That is, heck, man, that is a 1.8 billion change in puts. It's crazy. They piled into those puts. Piled. Crazy on down. Coming on down, baby. That's right, Sagi Guru. Yeah, that's right. Still hanging out 25,102. We have liquidity down to 67.45. That's where we're going. NASDAQ is dropping down to 25 into 25,175. Waiting for Papa to get excited. Well, you need a higher high. That's it. If you're gonna play a bounce into such a big move like that, you just have to have a higher high. That's it. Other than that, you have to remain short biased. Right side of the V will keep you safe. Is 3C still in play with NASDAQ? I mean, it's in play, but you have to have a higher high. Until then, it's just gonna go lower. So just, there are times to buy the dip and there's times not to. Right now, with that kind of momentum, and we look at the structure shift on the market. How did the order book shift after the chop this morning? High volume came in right at 10:10 and dumped it. That's a structural change. A change of character is a common way that people on the internet put it. It's a change of character, which means the market is now acting different than it was this morning. So you gotta be a little more delicate when you're trying to buy the dip in that. You've got to be able to demand a higher quality, which is a 3C higher high. And then once you do that, up we go. Now we're about to put a new low in. After that, it's going to come on down to 25,000. Do the 3Cs work for NDX? The 3Cs will work for anything that has volume. Anything that's traded with decent liquidity. Now, the higher liquidity, the better it's going to work. Still going, 182, top wick. Not a single higher high yet, so no long positions. Only short biased. All the way down. Yeah, my computer hung up again. But I'm back. Still coming off, baby. Still coming off. All the way down. 25.073 down to 25, baby. Still remains short. No long. They wiped out the high volume. They showed you the pure strength of the shorts here. So this is down, down, down. Structural change. Are you wanting to see a higher high in market structure or simply one candle? It really depends on you. Whatever. If you want to trade the 15-minute or the 5 or the 1, that's fine. Just you have to demand a closure of the higher high candle one such as this. And honestly, you don't even need to be looking for a buy the dip here until, just let it happen is what I'm saying. So don't sit here and miss a big move simply because you're waiting to buy the dip, unless that's something you just want to do. That's perfectly fine. Because right now, the market shifted at 10.10. It went into an aggressive sell. We have a tremendous amount of put buying on the options. The liquidity is rolling down to 25,000. So we're in a sell-off mode. VIX is skyrocketing. Volatility is remaining high. IV remains high. So this is a very selly action right here. And you'll know when it's time to buy the dip. The character will change. The structure will change. You'll get a super hard bottom wick, and most likely it'll come from a quick, deep red candle out of nowhere. Like we'll kind of go into this little choppy price action. We'll get a massive red candle that forms very quickly. It'll bottom wick with volume, and then it's time to go long. Until then, I wouldn't really be looking to buy the dip here. We have 1.9 billion in puts. We have 700 million in calls sold. So we have what? Collectively 2.5 billion in negative delta. We have liquidity continue to roll down to 25,000, and ES still has this cat who can't get filled. So this guy's chasing the bids all the way down, can't get a fill, and now we have 67.40 as liquidity rolls lower on the S&P. So until you have a high volume bottom wick that closes with a high, remain short biased or do nothing at all. All the way down right here. We have the S&P, 67, what is that, 67.40? 67.42 is liquidity. Here's another high volume attempt right here. I was closed out on a stop. Do you recommend waiting for a green candle? So not a trade, but I've taken, I'm curious. On bull, I'm not going to discuss anything but the S&P right now. Just bear with me. There's too much going on for me to look at something else in the moment. 25.06 still dropping. We have high volume top wick rollover. Next again, Dumperoni, 25.052. 2 billion in puts and going. Locking it down. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Locking it down. We are coming down. We are coming on down to 25.03. After that, we'll be looking at 948. But right here is that 040 was my initial target for NASDAQ. And we are about to touch it, 10 points away. I front ran it a bit, but I nailed that short, sticking to my plan and taking profit and resetting to 1K. Paid my bills for the month. All right, do it. Lock it up. Well done. Do I recommend waiting for a green candle before re-entering? You talking about for a long? You're talking about shorting. I see what you're saying. Honestly, when the momentum comes like this, you don't know how it's going to present a stop. So, yeah, you can wait for an oscillation up, top wick back over, but that may cause you to miss a very large outlier move. So there's not a good way to really enter and extend a runaway train move like this. I mean, we're already down, what, 300 points we're down, almost? So it's difficult. But look what happened on this move so far. You are looking for a bottom wick, correct? I'm not looking for a bottom wick. I'm just telling you all, if you're looking for a long, what you need to see is a high volume inflow, an aggressive bottom wick with a higher high. If you're looking for a long, I'm not going to sit here and wait for a buy the dip opportunity. If it presents itself, I will execute. Until then, this market is flowing down heavily. 67.35, we have nearly 3 billion in negative deltas here, so it's an incredibly heavy market. So you have to remain down. I mean, look at this. Even if you plot a trend line, we haven't even taken the trend line out yet. So, which tells you, so all that tells us is that we haven't put in a higher high. Once you put in a higher high, this trend line will just inherently break, and you'll know. So a higher high is what you need. Other than that, remain short biased. until you get that move. Traders are rotating from gold to the safety of Beyond Meat. I love it. That's hilarious. There's a nice green move. Now, what did I say that we're looking for what you need to see if we're looking for a bounce? Tight price action, quick red candle out of the gate, immediate bottom wick with volume, and then a quick move back up. So when you're looking for a bounce, that quick liquidity candle is a great example to go long. It's a great example to look for that possibly starting to shift. That quick down candle, or at the highs, you'll get a quick up candle, and then they smash it, or this one they bounce it. So far, that's the biggest bounce of the morning. A total win of 82% on 7 points out of the money. Nice, Dan. Killing it, dude. I love it. Well done. Well done. 040 was my target. We almost got there. Got within 10 points and then bounced. 120. That's a beautiful bounce right there. Bottom wick with volume. Gold still faltering. $67.50. We got 175 liquidity to the top side there. 15-minute put in that high volume, of course, and then beautiful bounce. Beautiful bounce. Nice. Nice. What's the website on the bottom left? The two left indicators, the top is going to be Bookmap. That is our liquidity tracker. That's going to tell me where the shifting liquidity is occurring on the book and where the density of the liquidity is. The bottom left is Spot Gamma. That is the options flow indicator. What you're seeing here is the deltas on the 0DT options presented in notional. The green line is puts, the blue line, I'm sorry, the green line is calls, the blue line is puts. Both of them trending down like that is telling you that the institutions are selling calls and buying 0DT puts. Still going. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. When you talk higher highs, is it the higher of a prior candle or at the last large pivot? Higher highs of a prior move. So it could be the prior candle, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's just whatever the market is giving as a high. So for this example, you can kind of see you have a high here, you have a high here, you have a high, and you have this bottom wick. So this little liquidity zone of NSR. Once you clear that, then you can start attacking the upper levels, which is they'll give you a SR flip. So you've got this level of 160 that we breached, and then you've got the morning low. So in the event that we take this out, you can play long up into 173, and then this 173 will be your target for another rejection. And it could be an opportunity for a secondary short at 173. Could be, as long as you have the signs there. But for now, we do have a setting up 3C move here, which set up quite beautifully. And I want y'all to pay attention to what exactly happened there, because this candle right here is a beautiful example of liquidity sweep. Slow grind move down, quick blast lower with volume, immediate bottom wick. That is a liquidity sweep textbook right there, and which leads you to an upward price. And this happens at the highs and at the lows. It happens when a short is induced or a long is induced. You're no GIF gel. Now you can post a GIF, Jed. Not so many. Hmm. $25,133 still heading up. Still going. 25,275 liquidity. Can you explain what the options flow is and how to use it? But I can't find any good videos about it. No one talks about it. Yeah, so tracking the options flow is a way to track outlier information. Now, in the world of 1,000 different trading apps and trading softwares and trading tools and everything you can add, the main theme across all of them is that most of them are not going to do much else to trim your edge unless there's outlier data presented that you know how to translate into actionable data. So with the options, there's always going to be put buying, put selling, call buying, put buying. But the trick is to know when the tides shift and when there's an aggressive skew on one side or another. Now, you can track all this on your options chain without having a fancy little indicator. This just makes it very convenient and very quick to identify for the average trader who's, I guess, a layman, for a better word, not lack of a better word. So, with a software like this, it's showing you that there's an aggressive amount of put buying and call selling from large money individuals. So you could use the term institutions, which is what they do identify it as, but we don't actually know who it is. It's just we know that there's very large money flows that are not retail traders flowing into put buying and call selling. Now on the book map, we use the same concepts. Just look at that. Was another liquidity sweep right there. You see that? Aggressive move down, immediately bottom wicked, over and over again. Never chase the first breakout candle. So even with bookmap, is you identify the skew. Where there is a significant skew building on the order book, and then a change up. So if they start to manage more liquidity higher, 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 then that's your indication that you start pulling the market higher. Still going, 163. Hit my goal, logging off. Nice options, new noob. Well done, buddy. Big, big, big bounce off that beautiful liquidity sweep. And they're going to come up to the morning low. This is your trigger. Do not get caught at this level. This is a change up right here. This is a level not many people track. Some people do. But be aware of it. Right here. They're buying back some of the calls. They're selling off some of the puts. They have liquidity up and down here. Right into this 175, which is also right here at the morning low. Let's go take a look at gold. What's gold doing? Gold's getting wrecked all the way down into this pivot. We have the overnight pivot right here with volume. But again, higher highs. What makes the morning low? It's the low of the first hour of the day. You take the first 60 minutes of the session, you plot the exact high price and the low price. That's your morning range. And we're coming right up onto it here. This is where you get the SR flips. If they take it out, then full-on recovery is back on the books. They're back to buying calls and selling puts by the dip. So question, stating the morning low kind of right now before that drop on NASDAQ though. You're stating the morning low kind of. I'm not sure what you're asking. $10.30 low was 25.088. Well, it's the first hour of the day. What's your higher high in gold right now? Let's go take a look. So higher high for gold, let's go to the 5 minutes. That's where you're going to confirm at least your first indication. It could be, I would say probably 40.43 is going to be your best chance, but that's a very large candle in the last 5 minutes. So you have to make a determination right now. If they get over 40.33, that is a technical higher high to close, but that's up to you whether or not you want to play that aggressively with this kind of a move. So the technical higher high is going to be right here at 33. And then, of course, if you see all this basing here, we have a lot of liquidity, we have high volume, we now have a bottom wick, and it's coming along nicely. Overnight is Asia and London. Nope, just the first hour of the New York session. So 9:30 to 10:30. You take the high and the low. I use this indicator here. Opening range. Oh, why are my settings different? Never mind. My settings were off. I knew something didn't look right. Yeah, that's the opening range low feels off. Yeah. When Twizzy asked that, I was kind of looking at that, thinking, what the crap? But yeah. Every now and then I accidentally delete that indicator and have to re-add it. I guess I forgot to change the time this morning. I just do them manually. That's the best. We have gone from now 1 billion in sold calls, and now they're back to 100 million. So they bought back a 900 million in calls. They're selling off the puts, and here we are at the SR flip, which was the opening imbalance, I guess, right here. I was so confused. Me too. Me too. Me too. He was testing us, I was, yeah. Beautiful 3C on SPY, yeah. I would say 172 is still a good SR level. Yep, 100%. Absolutely. Also ready for a negative 60% day. Did I have a mentor when I first started trading? I had financial mentors, but not a day trading or investing style of mentor. So all of my mentors read from books. So I was a big reader ever since I was a kid because I didn't have any kind of TV or nothing. So all I had was reading. So I was always a big reader. And once I became interested in the financial world, I started reading everything I could and tried to learn as much as I could. But even still, you got to learn. I think it takes a certain type of person to be successful at this. Obviously, you have to have the drive to continue on in the face of struggle, but you've got to also be open to change, and you have to be good at a little introspection, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You've got to know when to quit, when to change, when you're being an idiot, and there's no one out there that's harder on me than me. So I guess I was always good at kicking myself and making sure I change. We have 175 right here, which is the morning bounce area. SR flip. The only bad thing about that bottom wick is that it brings us right back inside this morning crap, or this weekly crap. So the weekly candle is now just another doji. Right there. Is the S&P just testing the morning low now? It's a little bit above it. So this was the morning low right here, this red line. Halt again. Nice. Imagine profit taking after the last, 15-minute doji so far. We're 8 minutes in. We're halfway through this 15-minute candle. I was really hoping my 6690 SPX put would go in the money. Sick and tired of the dip buyers. Yeah. Well, the dip buyers have been very strong for a long time now, and we played the buy the dip for many, many, many months. But it's still quite strong. But things are a little different than they were. That's why I'm not so quick to jump back into the buy the dip category just yet, because things are a little different than they were before we switched before we made the transition. IV is carrying high, VIX is carrying high. The market looks a little shaky, so it might be being a little stubborn here, but I'm okay with that until I'm comfortable with my positioning. I'm okay with that. I'm loving AI to create my own custom indicators. Nice. Very cool, Matt. Got to use that big brain, man. Things have gotten a little tight after the bounce. We're coming up on 10 minutes, or was 66% through the 50-minute candle. I kept trying to load SPX low prices around 9:30, and it kept getting pushed away from my business. Did not get filled. Coulda, woulda. There you go. UK close will be revealing, possibly. I'm watching the 1 minute for volume inflow. We have a couple of volume spikes, but the key volume spike occurred here with this liquidity sweep, and then the bounce. Other than that, this is small potatoes. The 5-minute candles have the obvious high volume candle on the green, higher highs, and then up, and that's it for now. Right here. Refinancing rates surge 81%. What's the 30-year mortgage down to now? 30-year mortgage fell to 6.2, down from 6.3 last week. 15-year rate moved down to 5.5. What happens after you hit the buffer zone on TPT? Can you take the money out? Yep, anything over the buffer is yours. You can take out. So if you can be patient and build up that account until you hit the buffer, and then everything after that is money. It's yours. Gold, big beautiful bounce. I love it. You know, it's interesting. In the world of trading and investing and finance, there's not a worse profession to have ego in. I think piloting might be another profession that you absolutely cannot have an ego, but trading I think is number one. And yet ego is so incredibly rampant. Some of the most immature, egotistical children are, well, at least call themselves a trader. They're not really traders. They call themselves traders. They buy and sell stuff, but they're not traders. They're degenerate gamblers. Beautiful high volume 3C bounce. So that's another textbook. Gold, in my opinion, man, very clean for bounces. Hey, look at that liquidity, 25075. Very clean on bounces for gold. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Bam. Last night's play, extraordinary. That was a textbook 3C bounce. Love it. Just walked back in the room and heard you talking about me. No. So NASDAQ just stacked bodies at 25075. All the way down. We call the egotistical liquidity, 100%. Do I prefer TPT to MFF? I've never done MFF, Deacon. I do love TPT. I'm a big believer of it. The daily payouts, in my opinion, should be the prop firm standard. You make money, you pull it out. It's plain and simple. If I had the capital to start my own prop firm, it would be very similar to TPT with a couple of adjustments. Gold's a monster, it is. 25,075 on NASDAQ is the Big Daddy liquidity. All the way down. Haven't prop firms been white labeled at this point? I bet they wouldn't use much to get going. Yeah, but there's been a couple of instances of dudes trying to start too much with too little capital, and they get cleaned out very quickly. Ran into another Marine at my gym. He's a day trader with a purple Lamborghini. I gave him the look of disappointment. He was like, "Whatever, bro. You're not trying. You try not buying one when you're making 7 figures a month." Yeah, he's not making 7 figures a month. They'd be writing books about him if he's making 7 figures a month. Liquidity down to 25,112 right here. All the way down, 25,135. Probably make 7 figures with his course. Maybe I should sell the course. That'd be nice. What's the going rate for a course nowadays? $1,500 for an AI generated course? What's a Lambo? $3K a month? It's probably more than that if you finance it. Heck, $100,000 at these rates, you're getting upwards of $2,000 a month. That's right, man. That's right. The only thing I make at the gym is sick gains. That's right. We had a sailor on my ship who won the lotto. The admin separated him. Yep. Yep. They don't want you making too much money because you turn into a ransom risk if you make too much money. They'll boot you. You turn into an OPSEC problem. Can you ask that question? Yep. Yeah. Post it here and I'll take a look. Yep. It's undue influence. Yeah. Well, that's not the way it presented it to me. When you make a significant amount of wealth, you become an OPSEC issue. So, especially if you're in someone with a top secret position or with sensitive information, you can get captured, and now all of a sudden you got ransom. Not to mention they know they can control the lower people with finances. Hey, we'll cut your orders if you're not gonna fall in step. So I've not taken a trade, but I'm curious on BULL. The daily chart, we saw a massive anomalous volume spike. relative to volume, but continuation lower despite it. My question is, what is a massive spike in volume if its demand is just carrying on sliding down anyway? Trying to understand the buyers and sellers. Let's take a look. What day was that on? Mid-October. BULL. Webull. Daily chart. Well, I would have to know, one, was that a news event? If that was a news event, then that's going to alter the way things go. But if you're playing a high volume spike like that, I mean, you would have got, it did bounce a little bit, but then immediately after the initial bounce, dumped back over. So that just tells you it's a failed setup. Failed setup, and it shows you how strong the sellers actually are. So that's all there is to it. It's like if it does bounce like that with significant volume and immediately rolls back over, it's just there's not enough buyers to sustain the move. It's enough to stop it, but not enough to continue. Still coming off here, NASDAQ dropping 25,087 liquidity. Does it not mean a sign of things to come? It means continuation lower. So when the sellers are able to clear such a strong level like that, it just shows you how strong the sellers actually are, how strong the book is to the downside. And it's not ready to bounce yet. There are people selling courses for $15,000. But who affords that? Is my question. Just a couple of rich people managed to get it from a few people? That's terrible. Wow. You're very welcome, Nico. Can we get 051? I think so. I think we're about to grab this liquidity, the skew lower. That's a perfect example on order book management. They stack the book lower to the tune of 1,000 lot, which is a big order for NASDAQ. And we're about to fill it. Watch it. They'll come down here and we'll get a quick move through this 8-7. It's crazy. Look at that. Right into it. Amazing. Amazing. Still going, baby. They tapped that SR flip and rejected. Right there. Nope, nope. Wrong one. They tapped that SR flip and dumped it. You should do it, Magabaguli. Probably make some money. Still dropping big time. Come on, baby. Give daddy something. 25,051 low of the day, and they're quickly approaching it. Man, that liquidity roll was amazing. Amazing. 25.06, 10 more points. We'll hit new low of the day. Almost there. Almost there, baby. Would you consider any of those candles before this high volume dump, high volume spikes? We had a couple of minor spikes, nothing crazy though. But the fact that they're still sweeping lower right here, and now we just put a new low of the day in, I mean, we had some volume spikes, it just wasn't massive volume spikes right at these SR flips. So that SR flip never actually closed a higher high, and then now here we are screaming lower. Yahtzee. Engulfing red candles. Next target, 04, which they already breached. After that, 0960 on NASDAQ. 2.3 billion in puts, 700 million sold calls, 3 billion net of negative delta. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I love it. 031. Puts are printing. Love it. Closed at 3-3. Would have made a runner, but only had one. That 30-minute high volume candle. Yeah, so they engulfed the whole thing. And that one candle, that 5-minute candle alone, was a 110-point candle. Massive, massive red candle. That's beautiful stuff. That's the volatility I've been waiting for. Plenty of opportunity all over the place today. Nice, Dan. So the only thing left on deck is 25,000. That's a third highest volume candle of the day there. So far, no higher high, so it's still slamming it. Watch him kill this one, too. I fought back to red from minuscule green. From red to minuscule green, locking out. Nice, Dave. Beautiful. It's a great feeling when you get it back, isn't it? It's a great feeling. It's hard to do. It is. Still dropping. We got 3 more minutes in the stream. Let me know if you have any questions. Before we wrap things up. Mentally exhausted. Yep. Trust me, man. Your mental capacity, your mental health is worth its weight in gold. So wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your day. You've bought your freedom for today's session. 25,000 is the next target in terms of liquidity. In terms of market structure, I'm looking for about 24,960 or so. This whole market support. It's the SR flip from Friday. If today's candle closes like this, my distribution thesis still is intact. It's still selling into higher prices. The VIX is still high. IV is still high. Like I said, I don't see the signs that I need to see to kind of get back to being aggressively bullish like I was prior to Friday, October 10th. I was aggressively bullish from June until Friday, October 10th. And then things shifted. And I still haven't, I'm not seeing what I need to see to get back to where I was before that Friday. VIX is still high, IV is still high, volatility is still high. There's still too many engulfing red candles to get me pumped up to just relentlessly buy every dip. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. If you don't agree with me, go call me mean names on the internet. Hurts my feels. Bunch of meanies. Yep, I'll be here tomorrow, 6 of 6. $25,050. I wish some dip buyers would get some diarrhea right now. I love it. Baldy. That's cutting deep, wrong brewski. It's cutting deep. You should do like the celebs have done on the late night shows and read off mean tweets. I should do that. That's a good idea. Coming on down to 25,000 if you take this out. There's liquidity skewed there. We have a negative 3,800 CVD and increasingly red. we have more put buying and call selling. Your eyes right now need to be pinned to the volume on these moves, especially with this quick rollover candle. You see a volume spike, red flag. As a trader, I thought we don't have feels, only data. Yes. Yes, it's true. Would 073 be a good stop? If you're short, yes. Now, I mean, you better be prepared to give back 50 points. But in a big move like this, sometimes you have to leave a little bit on there if you want to catch the whole move. So yeah, if it takes out 070, whatever high that candle is, 071, that's when you want to get out. Right here. Boom. 25,000. Beautiful stuff, dude. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Look at the VIX, baby. VIX is up 7% and chugging. We're back to 25,000. Just like that, 300-point sell-off. It's amazing stuff. It's amazing stuff. There's still too much engulfing selling on this book. On down. When you say watch for a volume spike on a rollover candle, you mean the high volume on a rollover indicates a further selling pressure that negates. Well, what I'm saying is that volume is your first indication of activity. Whether or not you're looking for a bounce or a sell-off or anything, when you see high volume, that tells you activity. So for this particular candle, if I'm looking for, let's say you're short, and you are figuring out, hey, is this going to bounce or am I going to make a lot of money and this thing is going to continue to drop? Well, your eyes need to be glued to the volume. Now, the volume is not going to tell you only that we're going to bounce. That's not the only thing. But that's going to trigger me to switch to the 5-minute and look for price action. So if like right now we see a volume spike. So now my eyes are on the 5-minute, which is not on the screen. It's off screen. So now my eyes are on the 5-minute chart. And I'm going to say, all right, well, what do the wicks look like on the 5-minute? If you start to see aggressive bottom wicks on the 5, then now you need to start looking for the possibility for a higher high for a possible bounce to get me out of a short or in a long. So the 1 minute is simply a trigger, an alarm system to start looking for potential moves. If you don't see a high volume spike, then the move's going to continue on. I mean, look what happened right here. The freight train slowed down in this area because look at the volume. High volume bounce, high volume bounce. We're still at the same price we were at 11.23. Hey, I'm 2 minutes past. All right, I have to hang it up. If you have any questions, throw them in the channel. Shoot me a DM. If you like what you saw, come join us next Wednesday on the Bookmap stream for another beautiful Bookmap stream. Otherwise, come back and join us tomorrow. We're in the Discord server every single day, streaming from market open until about 11:30 or so. And until next time, I'm out. See you.